Hello guys, giving you an update on my diet. I've now been eating only breakfast for almost 2 weeks. Now is the last day of this experiment. Today is it's one day after the last day. Today is the first day I'm switching back over to the evening meal routine. And I wanted to do this video to tell you about the pros and cons of eating only breakfast. If you are intermittent fasting and only eating one meal a day, maybe this is helpful to you. And my experience with the breakfast regimen is on the positive side that it will keep you full almost all day. And if you're eating high fat, even more so. You won't be really hungry most of the time because you wake up, you do, or at least what I did some exercises, some body weight exercises or some running, and then continued to have my one meal for like 1.5 hours. I would eat and feel very full afterwards until basically shortly before I go to bed. There I might get a little bit hungry, but then it's time to go to bed, and you go to bed, and next morning it's almost again time to eat, which is a nice benefit if you can go to bed and fall asleep on an empty stomach. Some people I've heard have problems with that. If you're such kind of person, try it out and see for yourself if it works. The next thing I observed is that my digestion wasn't as good in the morning as it is in the evening. That's also the case why I was not so hungry most of the time, because it took a long time for this meal to digest. It is I think it's normal if you switch over your eating time that all your body has to adjust. It has to produce all the digestive enzymes at a different time, which cannot happen like within one day, and that I think caused me some problems because my stomach wasn't emptying out. I felt for like 5 or 6 hours or even more, depending on what I ate. If I eat the nuts, not blended but just chewing them, it takes longer for them to digest, for example. And then that's the problem. You are not really fasting for a long time of the day because you're still digesting the food. And this gets me to the next point, which is not having the same energy, not having the same nice crystal clear focus that you have when you're fasting during the day. When I eat a high fat meal, it's not as bad when I eat a high carb meal, the tiredness, but it still can be felt in comparison to a completely fasted state. That's when you are eating dinner, you wake up and you don't eat all day. I think the focus and the mental clarity you get from that is unbeatable. So that's a downside of eating only breakfast, because you are basically digesting the food uh, for a long time of the day. And yeah, that's not very helpful if you want to be super productive. And the next downside I felt is that you are not getting to eat at night. That's when most people eat. That's when you want to have maybe your reward for the day, and it's not coming. You had the best thing right in the morning, which is your meal. You cannot look forward to it, and that might be a little bit difficult because some people need that motivation during the day to work hard, to put in the effort, and foreseeing that meal at the end of the day and having it to look forward to it. That's what I like more about the dinner regimen, and that's why I'm also switching back to it, because it's not only more pleasurable but also more socially socially viable. You can share the meal with other people more easily than if you have breakfast for 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Most people just, if they eat breakfast at all, they have like a short snack or something, bread or something that can be eaten quickly. And the biggest benefit of the breakfast regimen by far is how well I slept. I slept so incredibly good. It's like you're reborn in the morning. when you go to bed on a completely empty stomach, I think the human growth hormone is very high. It spikes during the night, especially during the beginning of the night, and this leads to great recovery. And it can be felt. My sleep was so deep, and every morning I feel so refreshed. My skin is like, after a morning of sleeping on an empty stomach, it's so smooth. You can really see reduced wrinkles and stuff. It's amazing. And I'm going to see how I will feel back on the dinner regimen after I've adjusted back to it. I'm working or experimenting with different feeding, with ways to prepare the meal so that it is easy to digest, even though it's like over 1,000 calories, 1,500, sometimes more, sometimes less. But I want it to be digested quickly so that I'm not like lying in bed all night and the meal is still digesting. It's not what I want. So I will keep you updated on this, how it's going, how well the meal digest. I want to go a little bit more in the raw vegan direction, like also doing more blended nut yogurts, or not even fermented, maybe just make it easier so that I have blended nut milk and have that. I'm still eating my greens first. I like a green smoothie first, also with multivitamin, multimineral supplement, just to make sure that I have all the macro and micronutrients in there, and so I'm just on the safe side, because on some days I don't have much variety. And then I usually have a cooked vegetables with some nut butters blended in. Like maybe I will take mushrooms, heat them up in the pan, not really frying them. I don't do that. I heat them just lightly, boiling them in the water, but in the pan, so that afterwards I can evaporate the water and reduce the size, because vegetables have a lot of water and it just fills me up too quickly. So I try to evaporate as much water as possible. And then I add like peanut butter and or coconut cream and ground flaxseed to it, and eat that with some spices like curry, and also add, of course, some salt. I am now experimenting with salt, not only from sodium chloride but also from potassium chloride. It's a 50-50 mixture, and I think that's better than just using sodium salt, just for having a balance of those two minerals. If you know how they are processed in the body, there needs to be roughly an equilibrium. If you have too much sodium in your diet, you will excrete it through the kidneys, and also you always lose potassium with that, and that's not good. So you need to keep both levels pretty much the same. Yeah. What else is there to say about the breakfast regimen? I think try it out, see if it works for you. Maybe 2 weeks have not been long enough to really give it a good try, but I think I just like the evening routine more, where you're feeling super sharp all day and with an empty stomach, because for me it's not so much a problem to have an empty stomach. The feeling of real empty stomach hunger is even easier for me than just having a craving, for example, and that can even happen after a meal, like a couple of hours after a meal. It can happen that my stomach is still full, but I'm craving some food. I'm still like, I want some more. Yeah, another thing is, even though on this diet my skin is like super nice right now, it's getting better, and because I had like very small part, not really acne, but some roughness on it, and it's getting better. And on the other hand, I'm still leaning out. I'm getting leaner. Maybe I will do an update video on that in the future as well. But yeah, I feel I can retain muscle very, very nicely without having like brutal workouts, which I did in the past, where you're like sore for weeks, not weeks but days. And yeah, so I'm trying to increase my muscle mass while reducing body fat, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the results so far. This diet is really something I can recommend. And last thing about the high fat diet is it really takes time to adjust. For at least for me, my experience is, whoa, it took so much time to adjust to it. Now I'm eating it for like 5 or 6 weeks already, and now I can feel still increases in energy. It's crazy. And yeah, now I finally feel that my body adjusted to eating very low carbs, because I think that's the reason, or the reason for that, I think, is that I ate very low fat, very high carb for about 6 years. So I was in that completely different camp of vegans. They are all over YouTube promoting starch-based diet, fruit-based diet. I ate all of that, and honestly, I felt pretty good, but mentally, but digestion-wise, it wasn't so good, and now it's perfect. So yeah, that was my update on the breakfast regimen of the 1 meal a day diet. Please let me know in the comments what you think, and see you soon. Ciao.